Welcome to Your Anime Senpais. I'm John, and today I am joined once again by Randall, the founder of the LAC, and this is going to be the last video in a three-part series on the Louisville Anime Community's Newsletter edition. This time we're going to be talking about the upcoming seasonal review. So basically this is going to be Randall, the anime series that you recommend that people that are at home with just a little extra free time, things that we should possibly check out and why you think that. So let's just dive right into what you recommend we should be checking out in this new season of anime.
Well, like you said, everything on the list except where noted otherwise is from this season, so they're coming out slowly but surely. Don't call me Shirley. There's only a couple of episodes of each of these probably, but generally try to give them like a rule of 3 before you drop them. So with that, we'll just kind of get into it. There's one called Kakushigoto, which is a collaboration between the people who did the Monogatari series and Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei, and it's very evident in the art style that this is a combination of both. The plot about it is basically this mangaka or manga artist guy is trying at all stops to keep his daughter from learning that he's a mangaka, because he does weird series, and I wouldn't necessarily say stuff that's like Arrow sensei or Arrow type shows.
Oh, okay, so it's not really perverted. It's just he just don't want his.
He doesn't want his daughter to think less of him and her to be like ostracized from society and all this stuff. It's your daddy is a businessman and he goes to work in a daily office job and he's great at what he does.
That sounds very respectable. Yeah,
and
I can see that.
he wants her to be secluded from all that. So he has like emergency alerts set up. So his whole office transforms into a regular workspace, and they put away all the mangaka tools and brushes, and they spritz the air and all that, get the ink out of the air. And he's kind of the doting father type, kind of like from like Full Metal Alchemist, where he's like, my daughter's the greatest in the world and she must have the best. So like she goes on a camp out to the beach and she wants to do the seasoning for the curry. So he hires a Indian master chef to come in all of a sudden and throw spice into the curry pot. And of course it screws up and stuff like that. So it's a very comical series with a very unique art style. I think most folks will find it enjoyable. It's so far been kind of unique and fun to watch. So give it a shot. Next thing up is Wave, Listen to Me. This one is, ironically enough, about people doing internet and radio casting.
Oh, how timely.
Indeed. This one's a little bit more adult because it deals with upper-aged characters. You've got a waitress who kind of spills the beans while she's drunk to a radio producer, and he, of course, is recording all this and from different angles, too, and he puts it up on the radio the next day, and she hears it while she's working her shift and storms into the radio studio and lets him have it and ends up on the air and chews out people on the radio and all this stuff. And she ends up working for the radio station.
So she must have had a decently interesting life, evidently, if he recorded it and got this kind of reaction from it, possibly. So
I think what she was doing is mostly like complaining about her exes and things like that. So it's something different. If you're looking for something that's not the normal, a little bit more adult, might be worth a look. Next up, we've got Listeners. This is a show that I've described a couple of times already as the marriage of Fooly Cooly and something like Megas XLR or Gadgard, maybe along the same lines as Eureka 7. It starts off very similar to all those shows. So far, we've only gotten 2 episodes into it. It does have a music vibe going with it, where you've got musical instruments and like guitar amps turning into giant robots. Oh. And somebody, that's into music hooks up to it and is the pilot. You've got big old weird, giant robot-sized evil creatures running around. The world's kind of in a dilapidated state. It's not really post-apocalyptic, but something. It's very colorful. give it a shot. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't end up on Toonami unless they do something really bad with it. So,
Interesting.
next thing we've got is Brand New Animal, or you see it abbreviated a lot as just B&A. It's by Studio Trigger, so they'll probably end up in space. Just like everything else, Darling in the Franxx, Kill la Kill, Gurren Lagann, take your pick.
Oh.
This one is about a human girl who ends up transformed into more like a raccoon girl, who maintains her power of transformation, and she flees to the city of animal people, anthropomorphic people, that has apparently lived alongside humans forever or whatever, since basically like the Egyptians. And they've kind of maintained their secrecy, but this is kind of a safe haven for anthropomorphic people. Don't really have too much to say about the music in it, but as far as like the animation and the story in that goes, unlike some of the other things recently that have been like sexualized animals, this doesn't have any of that. It's more about her uncovering some grand scheme going on in this town and why she's the only human that was transformed into an animal. And there's like human abductions going on. She's working with the police and the mayor to try and figure this all out.
What was she, a furry before she was transformed?
Apparently not, but she doesn't like the fact that she's, I think she's called a raccoon instead of a different type of animal in there. You've got a wolf character in there that is like super powered, and he's helping people out and, attacks bad guys and other animals that are doing bad things like burglary and all that. So he's kind of the guardian character. But it's not been bad. So, you might give that a shot if you're into anthropomorphic folks. Tower of God. Your Anime Senpais is doing reaction videos and reviews of each episode that comes out. Give that a shot. Watch it.
And you're on there too, so see what Randall thinks about that. Even though he's already kind of smashed through all the 400 plus chapters of the webtoon. So
only 472 chapters in 2 weeks. That's nothing. Yeah. What do I do next week, right?
Slacker.
The Tower of God, like you just said, it is a webtoon. There's a lot of other good webtoons out there. It's an app you can get for your phone. It's basically about a young boy following a young girl as they escape what could be the basement, could be an underground thing, up into a tower. And similar to the concept of like Sword Art, you've got a tower that you have to go up through different layers of floors in order to progress. The idea is at the top of this tower, you can get whatever your heart desires is. The main character is kind of weak in that he doesn't have much complexity or real personality. He's kind of a one-note character. A lot of the other side characters, though, are where a lot of the draw is for the series. You've got non-humans, humans, people that are swordsmen, whatever. It's very much like Hunter x Hunter, where you've got people trying to compete, get a license, or get some kind of status, and then go up the ranks, and they, have adventures along the way. So that might be a draw for you. It's currently on Crunchyroll, who's promoting it. So maybe if it does well, we'll see more webtoons coming, which wouldn't be a bad thing. Next thing is My Next Life as a Villainess. All routes lead to doom. Or you'll also see this in the Japanese with the word otome in it, because it's based on the idea of otome games where you've got generally a female lead character, and then it's a dating simulator basically. Like you've got dating simulators for guys, or like hentai games or whatever. Otome game is the female equivalent for, pretty boys or what have you for that generally. So in this case, you've got, like in a isekai show, a little girl gets KO'd, wakes up as basically the soul from a Japanese person, in this case like a teenager, is in this new little girl's body. The little girl doesn't exist anymore. So it's not like a possession or something. But she realizes that she's in a game, or the game plot that she was playing last, her otome game, and every route where she gets married or fights off somebody or whatnot leads to doom. So like she'll get killed or she'll get deported or she'll get divorced or whatever. It's all negative. So she tries her best to make friends with people or go in a different route, or instead of being a prim and proper princess, she starts plowing fields and climbing trees like a monkey and all these other different things. So it's amusing to watch. It's another little different spin on the isekai type thing. She's trying to get out of the situation that she's in. So far in the first couple of episodes, they have shown her as being a adult later on, which I imagine that they'll convert back to with a time skip or something. Right now it's just in her 7 to 8 year old self with teenager spirit or whatever. So give that a little bit of a shot if you're okay with isekai type shows. Might be worth a watch. The Millionaire Detective, Balance Unlimited. This one is pretty new. It's been making some of the rounds I've heard in the news and Facebook and 9gag and some other places. It's trying to channel James Bond type shows and spy and buddy cop type stuff. I'm kind of interested in seeing where it's going. It's only going to be 11 episodes long, which is kind of telling that they're not giving it the full run unless they've already got a second one set up. You've got a spy type character that has unlimited money, and of course a Tony Stark like AI that I guess inhabits his glasses or something. They haven't told us that yet, but he calls it his butler, and it does things. Kind of what was that show with the noblesse here not too long ago? The one where the kid is he loses his memories and he goes to Washington D.C. and he meets up with a girl, Eden of the East.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one.
Eden of the East, the same idea as Juice and talking to the phone, and it just does whatever you want it to do. You've got a buddy cop type thing, like I said, where you've got a guy who used to be a high-level policeman, and then he got knocked down because he has a big sense of justice. We're really going to have to see where it goes. I wasn't super impressed by the first episode, but if you're into the spy type thing, it might be worth a shot. If nothing else, you'd be entertained by seeing what he has to buy and how much damage they do each week. Stuff that's carrying over from last season. Kaguya-sama Love is War. Great first season. If you haven't watched it and you like rom-coms, this is right up your alley. Season 2, the first episode came out today. It doesn't have maybe as snappy an opening that everybody's going to be dancing to, but the content is still there and it's on point and it's funny. Go watch it. No Guns Life Season 2 has been postponed. I think about a month or so, but give that a shot if you like Heat Guy J or steampunk type stuff. Good show for that so far. Fruits Basket. Really, you're going to need to watch Season 1 instead of going into Season 2, because this is more where it deviates from the original Fruits Basket anime, and it follows the manga, the source material. So, but hey, it's more Fruits Basket. Can't go wrong. Ascendance of a Bookworm, Season 2. That one you definitely also need to watch the first season of. That's another isekai, but it's again something a little bit different. You've got another one where a teenage girl ends up in the body of a young child. Except in this case, she's actively dying because of her mana that I guess is in some way bestowed upon her by converting from another life. And she has to deal with that, and her family has to deal with that, and how that progresses. And in the meantime, she's becoming a merchant, kind of like a Spice and Wolf dynamic where there's a lot of mercantilism. And she starts up her own studio and works with different other guild master type people to get a business and pay for her treatment, and what repercussions are there. So that one's pretty decent as well. I'd give that a look if you're generally away from isekai type shows. course, SAO, War of the One Underworld, Alicization arc. That's continuing. That's been pushed off July, late June.
Oh, really?
Something like that. It's about a month and a half now.
I'm actually surprised how long this series, this Alicization series, has lasted.
Well, unless they do something crazy, this is going to be the end, finally. From there, I do want to mention a movie. I saw this here recently. It's called Hello World, just like the programming joke. This one is actually what I would call Inception, the anime. If you know me, you know I like Steins Gate and Bunny Girl Senpai and all these shows that are like time and dimension swapping type stuff. Hello World actually takes place within a digital world, and then it's layered much like Inception. So this is about a young boy. He's an introverted type person, of course. Finds another bookworm girl that he's not really interested in at the beginning. Meets an older version of himself that says, well, you're going to have to save her life because she's going to get hit by lightning and die in the future. So from there, it just kind of escalates, and they find out that they're in this digital world, and it's got layers, and they keep going back and forth, and people dying and fighting and so forth. Ultimately, if you like other movies like Fireworks or Napping Princess, like I said, Steins Gate, Bunny Girl Senpai, this one's about 2 hours long. It kind of really surprised me that it was out there to begin with. It's apparently been out a couple of years. It did get a limited theater release. We didn't see it here in Louisville as far as I remember, but give it a shot if you run across it. If nothing else, it's worth a rental if you can find it someplace. So,
well, we're just going to kind of tack on one small point that you're going to have to talk about. And that is just basic, and this is for actual members of your community, just the local requests and needs of your actual community that you're just asking people to maybe, I guess, assist with, help you out with if they're able to. I don't know how much we can do right now with, social distancing. But
which we're not 6 foot across, we're going to die. Really, if what we need is, even in this time of social distancing and people not getting together in person, as we've talked about in the other parts of this newsletter, we've got some online events. If you have skills with social media, whether that's Twitter or Twitch or Discord or Facebook or whatever, maybe you can just help run email campaigns, stuff like that. Stuff where if you know anything with social media, we need some help there. The more we're trying to do with videos online, the more effort that takes. We're a small team as is. The more we can break that up, the easier it is to digest for everybody. Even if it's the off season, if you want to call it that right now, additional hands, people that can assist us with setting up events. When we do get back to that, if you know about event space or places that are going to be looking to have people in to generate sales, if it's someplace to eat, people just want to work with other fans of Japanese animation or culture. That's what we're about. We really want to be able to get out there and encourage the community. Once things open back up, we're going to do more stuff with park events and getting back out there again. This is a time of planning. It's not truly downtime. We're all stuck indoors, but there's plenty of stuff we can plan on doing, getting that organized, ready to hit the ground running as soon as this breaks. So with that, I would say if you've got any interest, hit us up on Facebook. You can find me there, or at LouisvilleAnime@gmail.com is our email address for the group. That goes straight to me. Find us online. Shoot us a note or drop a comments in the section here on the YouTube video. Otherwise, stay safe. We'll see you later. Be kind, rewind, be excellent to each other.
Well, Randall, thank you for joining me for this newsletter episode. I do want to let everyone else know that this is the third part. There are 2 previous videos. Definitely go check them out. There's additional information and links and all that stuff you can find on those other videos for just additional information to kind of pass your time, educate yourself, enlighten yourself even. And with that being said, we really appreciate the fact that you've spent this time with these videos with us, and we really like your feedback, as Randall's pointed out. Leave some comments down below. Definitely find them on Facebook, different outlets of social media. And if you enjoyed watching these videos and you've came across our other content on the Your Anime Senpais YouTube channel, definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and the notification bell beside it. And we'll see you in the next video.